Roblox horror games as we know it is amazing. You got games like Far From Land that look and feel up as the real FNAF game with a realistic interior and creepy jump scares. Games like Alan and Leon where suspense combined with dread and consequences weigh heavy on your heart despite the characters having nothing to do with you. Or how about games like the Mall game, where grotesque monsters out to hunt you in this eerie environment, constantly building a sense of anxiety and restlessness that never leaves you bored. These games, whether it's graphic design, sound quality, atmospheric control, or just very well player immersion, all reach a type of balance that makes them super enjoyable. That's impossible to achieve had they not carefully designed the game with the utmost care and passion it deserves. But as much as I would like to continue to glaze peak gameplay, that's not what I'm here for. But today, I'm going to be talking about the flip side of Roblox horror, and that's the slop that plagues the Roblox horror scene. Starting with... Alright bro, I'm not even gonna try to explain where the Midnight series even begin, because there's honestly way too many of these slops, and none of them explain the main inspiration. So instead, I'm just going to skip through it and explain the main gameplay loop of all these games. Basically, Yoho has expected to hop on work as a night shift worker in an area with a potentially dangerous killer on the loose, waiting to make you his next victim. Yeah, that's it. That's the entire game. Yes, it's actually going to summarize in one sentence. But if I'm making more variety, then I guess instead of doing madness as a night shift worker, it's working a night shift at a local McDonald's simulator until the rumored killer appears to touch you. But being here slow as shit, gets counted touched by the police and you say being rigorously grouped. Like, there's literally nothing going on for the entire duration of experience. Not even any secrets, because all there is just some toxic chasing for like 60 seconds until you see the end. Which is just a wall of text telling you, oh my god, you outrun the killer? Wow, bro. You're so cool. Yo, good job, homie. Like, bro. And just in case you were not aware, this is for all the games in Midnight series, by the way. It's to the extent that they copy the exact menu for microtransactions and have nearly identical description for every game that has the word midnight in it. Hell, they even got the same extra fat as in almost every single copy. Like, bro, what the fuck? If I didn't know any better, I would have thought they were made by the same developers. But no. As surprising as it is, they're all made by different groups, different individuals. Like, bro, Rick cannot be that high. Oh, y'all, the Midnight series up because of the lack of story, absolute horror, negative depth, riddles, microtransactions, and literally everything else, and should not be played under any normal circumstances. Unlike the Midnight series, backroom sagas have significantly more effort put into them, primarily due to the combined efforts Ken Pixel backroom videos and the creation of paraphernalia made by a guy named Gato, the new standard of what backroom games should look like. And the way to do it is in your dreams, because anything possible while dreaming. Yeah, so while a perfect with the game looks fucking amazing and scary as getting rubbed by a Hello Kitty girl, I genuinely cannot say the same for the rest, because the problem with the rest of the backroom games is that it's repetitive and in most cases boring. There, I said it, it's boring. Because while getting chased by wherever the fuck these are fun and exhilarating, most of the time you aren't gonna be chased out, but instead walk around the place trying to find other players or get to the next level. Like other than these two things, there's literally nothing else you can do. You don't follow a story, there's no unique threats, and there's no end goal, which is why it gets repetitive. Oh, I could argue that these games are supposed to be played with friends, and that the point background is supposed to be an empty house for those brave enough to explore. It still doesn't dissuade any of my points, because doing literally nothing for 20 whole minutes cannot be fun, bro. Even if you manage to get the voice online, because you could literally be doing anything else other than spending life touching virtual grass. Or you know, getting slammed up at the local McDonald's, crouching inside a kid's playground like he's ready to devour glizzy. Bro, what the fuck? Basically, what I'm trying to say is, nothing ever happens in backroom style games because it's really easy to get bored while playing it. But you know, everyone's experience differs, and you might like playing these type of games either by yourself or with a group of buddies, whatever works for you. So don't let my words sway what you want to play. So, with that being said, let's move on. I don't think I need to explain what Wish Your Dad is, but for those who don't know, Wish Your Dad is a horror game inspired by the Big F, where you and some other fat fucks take out to eat food and drink drinks while hiding from a Wish Your Dad that got possessed by a big black man in the middle of the night. And unlike other horror games like the Midnight series, Wish Your Dad was fun for its time. The gameplay always presented itself as intense and was often the time very difficult due to the need to balance out your stats, while also under the constant supervision of that entity that would slime you out if you did take a step out of your room, making the experience refreshing and constantly thrilling. The problem with Wish Your Dad was that it got too popular. As all things that get popular on the platform called Roblox comes with shit ton of copies. But unlike the Midnight series, Wish Your Dad copies dominated the front page of Roblox for a long time, and there were so many of them that people got sick of it. Because unfortunately, the gameplay of these copies were literally the same shit. Like, it's literally just a carbon copy of Wish Your Dad Chapter 1, but with different maps, bro. If anything, this type of situation you had a common Roblox atmosphere led to the horror genre. So it makes it an interesting game, it gets big, and under the attention of the copies trying to mimic success without adding any value. Need more Heat is a perfect example of this. The game created a repeated loop of doing more tasks to add more heat, that added more dopamine to the brain the more you played it, which of course gets subsequently done to death, as almost every single game released after that had the same storyline just with different style paints and maybe more spiritual than the average IP kid. But that's besides the point. The point is, Roblox games suck, alright, and this needs to stop. There needs to be more games like Far From Land, Piggy, Carnage, etc. because they are actually good games, even if they were not original works. Hell, Piggy and Carnage literally copies the Grand Danganronpa to a 1:1 scale. But the reason why they're so liked is because they managed to do something more in those games that others don't. Peggy managed to make a whole story with a complete lore and everything while adding new gameplay mechanics in every few chapters. Cars managed to balance the complex level of manipulation, commerce, and intellectual thinking in an actual critics trial, meaning you can debate with people just like Danganronpa, but instead of pre-prepared scripts, all the picture ideas against each other to find contradiction within each other's testimonies and pinpoint who the murderer is, which is incredibly complex to do that I'm pretty sure no other game that I've known of managed to actually achieve that level of engagement with its players. But unfortunately, gems like these are dimes a dozen, because the Roblox overload hates creativity, and promotes dog shit, brings in the most money, and the most microtransactions. So until this stupid algorithm gets fixed, I guess Roblox horror games still suck. Oh, we know the scanning cheaters.